everyone, and welcome to another episode of Little Give. I'm so excited to talk to our guest today. She's all about the hugs. Go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and tell us what you're all about.
Sure. My name is Edie Weinstein, and I am from Dublin, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour outside of Philadelphia. And what I'm about, connection. I think that's the most important thing, that I believe in connecting heart to heart with people. And I got my little heart buddy here here we go. And one of the ways that I do that is through the power of hugs. There's a really cool story that harkens back 10 years ago. Valentine's Day weekend, 2014, I brought a group of friends to 30th Street Station in Philadelphia, big train station. And I wanted to have people understand that Valentine's Day is not just one day out of the year and not just for romantic partners. Love is for everybody. Hugs are for everybody. So there were a dozen of us, friends that I've known for many years who are very huggy people. And within an hour's time, we estimated that we hugged a few hundred people. And we walked around the station with our signs that offered free hugs. And the thing about free hugs is that it has to be by consent. We didn't do any swoop by, kamikaze hugs for everybody. We had to ask, would you like a hug? Or they saw us, approached us, and asked us for hugs. One man stood out of my mind because he approached us. He was an Iraq War vet who said he was the only survivor of his platoon and he had survivor's guilt. And he said, I thought about ending my life until I met you people. Can I join you? And of course we said, absolutely. And we were through tears streaming. We gave him his own free hug sign and he was off to the races. And I thought, wow, hugs save lives. And friends started calling us Hug Mobsters, which kind of didn't really resonate with me because I thought of the word mobsters, guns, drugs, all that. So I thought, what if I added the tagline, armed with love? So I did. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a one-off kind of thing. I think it wasn't even 6 months. It was 5 months later. I was on my way home from the gym after a normal workout. I was 55 years old and I had a heart attack. And as part of my cardiac rehab, I walked around my little town of Doylestown and I thought, why don't I combine the hugging with the walking? So I made up a sign and started walking through my town offering hugs. Sometimes I did it by myself, sometimes with friends. Some of them were the original Hug Mobsters and others were friends that thought, oh, this would be really cool to do. So we did it in all temperatures and all weather. I remember one year there was a blizzard and there were still about a half a dozen of us that walked through Doylestown. I've done them at all different kinds of festivals, Pride days throughout my area. Where else? This picture was in Canada. I was visiting my friend Shane and Eloise. And so I was bringing my Hug Mobster sign, walking through this little town in Canada. And then the coolest place that I ever did free hugs was in Ireland. Now there's a picture in here somewhere of me standing in front of a man with dreads, shirtless man with dreads. It was in a park in Galway. There he is right there. It's called Ayr Square Park. So this young man, probably in his late teens, early 20s, approached me and literally, again, he was shirtless. He was blowing these massive bubbles and he said, can I have a hug? So I hugged him and I went on my way. And on my way back through the park, he says, come here. And I said, what? He says, I'm wearing patchouli oil and I want to get it all over you. So he was rubbing himself, up against me like a kitty cat. So he was one of my most memorable hugs. The other picture was at, I think it was a street fair in Doylestown, the woman with the hula hoop, because she would do like hoop dancing and we hugged there.
Hi, my name is Justin Clark and I'm the president of the board of directors for Driving Single Parents, a 501c3 nonprofit serving the citizens of San Antonio and Bexar County, Texas. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the great work that our organization is doing for the citizens of San Antonio. What you're about to see is just a few photos and videos of the way that we're changing lives for single parents in and around San Antonio, Texas. Our first giveaway took place in April of 2017, just one short month after the formation of our organization. John, a Bexar County resident, was the victim of a horrible drunk driver incident. He and his daughter survived the crash, and we were so proud to give our first car to this deserving family. Fast forward to 2020, a very difficult year for nonprofits. We were able to secure 4 vehicles for single parents in need. Our organization, including our board of directors, list of partners, and portfolio of people we've been able to help in San Antonio, continues to grow, and it's all thanks to donors and local community organizations that have helped us along the way. This giveaway took place in 2021 and shows that we continue to help single parents even after the struggles brought about by COVID-19. Because of limited funds and the overwhelming need, we at Driving Single Parents are incredibly selective with the people we help. Some are victims of domestic violence. Others had a spouse pass away tragically, or otherwise fell on hard times. These single parents show adversity in the face of challenge and aren't looking for a handout. We offer a hand up and help get them back in the driver's seat. Many of the single parents we help go on to graduate college, get promotions, get married, mentor others, and some have even been so touched by the gift we gave them that they have decided to join our board of directors to pay it forward and ensure the continued growth of our organization. If you would like to help our organization continue to grow and continue to help single parents in need in San Antonio, Texas, and Bexar County, Texas, we would really appreciate your support. Please visit us online at www.drivingsingleparents.org. Thank you.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever experienced a hug from somebody standing on a street corner? And
No, I have not, but
Okay.
I think it's such a cool idea. And I think it's really like when you touched on connection at the beginning of the conversation, when you said the thing you do the most is connection. I think that's something that we're missing a lot of now, with, even though social media lets us touch a lot of people all around the world, like even right now, us being on this screen, it's just very different from the type of connection that we used to have. And
Right.
I think that kind of aspect is that real connection, the touching or even being in the same room with another human being is a big difference between now and then. So I love the fact that you went around giving hugs. At first, when you came up with the idea, were you thinking people might be a little leery of you?
A little bit. Now, I didn't create the free hugs movement. I jumped on to it. There was a man in Australia or New Zealand who called himself Juan Man, Juanmann, and I forget what his real name was, but you think of Juan Man, one man. And he had moved there, I think, from England, and he was very lonely and very isolated. And he went into a town square and held up a sign that said free hugs, like real simple, white sign, black letters. And it took 20 minutes for somebody to stop and hug him. And it was an older woman, I think, whose dog had just died. And she reached up to him, he reached down to her, and a movement was born. And I thought, I want to do that. So that's where I got the idea. I don't know whether he was the first one, but he was the first one that I heard about. So yes, I did wonder. But because for hugs to be acceptable, it has to be by consent. So if somebody said no, I would just say, okay, thank you, but hug somebody. Whether it's your dog, a family member, a friend, or yourself. And more people say yes than no. So I was, up until the pandemic, I was doing them at least once a month all over my area. And as I said, when I traveled, I took my sign with me. When I went to, I had a small sign when I went to Ireland. And in Ireland, people are very willing to hug. It's a very, very friendly community and culture. So I got a lot of publicity, a lot of articles, interviews, and then bam, pandemic, everything shut down. And that was probably one of the hardest aspects for me, because I felt isolated. I couldn't do what I was born to do. My grandson had just been born that January. So March, I think, is when everything shut down. I didn't see him for 11 weeks. And it was, that was hard. So I said, all right, I'm going to do something about that. So I started hugging myself. I started wrapping myself up in blankets. I started hugging pillows. What else? Self-massage. And this is good for anybody who's isolated or lonely, is self-nurturing. And I had a dream at the beginning of the pandemic because I had thought, what if we can never hug again? And I said, that is not possible. How could humans be born hardwired for touch, and our skin is our single biggest organ, and not be able to hug again? Nah, not going to happen. So I had a really vivid dream in which we could hug again, but back to back or back to front, like spooning. So that was a relief. And it told me, yep, we're going to do it again. Then I started having dreams where people were hugging wearing masks. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go back out there and I'm going to do virtual hugs. So I'm going to stand at a distance from people and hug myself and ask them to hug themselves. And when we did that, it was almost, wasn't quite, but almost as good as hugging another human being. Then I started, when things got safer, when there were vaccines, I started hugging people wearing a mask, and I would hug to the side. It wasn't like a full frontal hug. And it's whatever people's comfort level is. So now I'm out there doing it again because we need this more than ever with everything going on in the world right now, regardless. That's my friend Eric. Regardless of which side of the political spectrum you're on, regardless of what culture, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, we all need love. We all need hugs. We all need connection. And it's one of my greatest joys. There is an epidemic of loneliness. The Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, said that people die from loneliness. And especially people, again, who live alone, who are isolated, in some cases who are older, who have mental health issues already. I'm a therapist as well. I'm a psychotherapist in a group practice, and a lot of my clients are lonely. So we talk about ways of connecting with their communities, going out and volunteering, going to a faith community, saying hi to their neighbors, adopting an animal, working in an animal shelter, something that brings you together. I know I have a family member who volunteers for Meals on Wheels. She doesn't deliver. I think she helps prepare the meals. So she's contributing to people getting their needs met. And it's not, how would I describe it? It's not altruistic. I don't just hug people for them. I hug people for me too, because it feels good.
Hi, my name is Andrew Fraley, and I believe that sometimes we all need a little bit of help. If you're in the San Antonio community and you need some legal help, call me at 210-725-4658.
That's what I was going to ask you next is like, we talked a lot about other people and hugging them and how that feels and whatnot and the connection there. But what has it done for you in your life?
Well, what it's done is that it's let me know that I can make a difference without having to be outrageous, without, people think about, well, I don't have money, so I can't donate to all these charities, or I can't make a big difference in the world. Yeah, you can. All you need to do is smile at somebody. Because that's what I was doing too, is like eye hugs with big smiles like that. Smile at somebody, hugging them if they're open to it. Mm-hmm. So it's helped me to realize that I can make a big difference by small acts. That's your concept.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that, being kind to each other, because people are cranky sometimes, and it's understandable why they might be. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And you're right. That's the whole mission of this show, is little give. It's a little give is a hug, but you're right. It could be anything. It could be a smile. It could be all the things. So I guess that would be your answer to Little Give. I always ask people that question is, can you give the audience an example of a little thing that they can do in their community that might just be a little give on their end, but might make a big impact on the other side?
Sure. Think about what you love to do. What's your, what lights you up from the inside and turns you into a human sparkler? And whatever that is could be what leads you to interact with your community. Maybe you like gardening, so you could contribute to a community garden. Maybe you like mentoring children. I was a mentor, I think, for 2 years for a young man in a residential program. So if you're a mentor, do that. If you like cleaning, you could offer to help clean someone's house. If you like construction, you can volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. You can volunteer at a soup kitchen. Again, you can check on neighbors. If you have neighbors that are shut-ins, you can knock on their door and make sure they're okay. That's helpful. You can do something that I was the recipient of a wonderful, two that come to mind, a wonderful gift. On MLK Day, we had a big snowstorm, and I have COPD, so I'm really not supposed, cardiac condition, so I'm really not supposed to do heavy shoveling, but I had to. And before I was done, a neighbor walked up to me with her 5-year-old son and said, "Can I help you finish shoveling?" And I let her do that for me. And it took 15, 20 minutes, whatever. And we had a conversation. We had seen each other in the neighborhood, but had never talked. So we were talking about how she passes by my house where I have, I'm quite visible in my neighborhood. My neighbors know that I'm a tree-hugging, crunchy granola hippie. You can tell by the hair too. But in front of my house, I have a sign that said, "Hate has no home here." And then I have a sign that says, "Our love is stronger than your hate." And then another sign that says, "Free mom hugs," which I'll tell you about in a sec. So she said, "I passed your house. I've seen your bumper stickers on your car. I've seen your signs. Now I'm glad to meet you." So by her doing an act of kindness for me, I was willing to receive and made a connection. The other one that was really cool was during the pandemic. I wasn't going out much because of my health conditions. So a friend said, "I'm going out to the supermarket. Can I pick you up anything?" I said, "Yeah, can you get me a few rolls of toilet paper?" Back then it was like a treasured commodity. So he goes shopping, drops off at my door a 12-pack of toilet paper. I had never had a 12-pack of toilet paper. Excuse me. So that was something that people can do too. If you're going shopping, you can ask somebody, "Can I pick you up something? Do you need anything? Can I cook a meal for you?"
Yeah, there's so many different examples out there of things you can do that don't even cost anything. It's just the smallest little act of kindness. And even more than that, it's the thought that counts. Like 12 rolls of toilet paper is awesome in that time in our lives, or, and then the whole pandemic situation. But, it was just a little give, on their end, but that really makes a big impact. And the thought is really also coupled with the item is just what I think makes the biggest difference.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about the mom hugs.
Free mom hugs. Okay. I didn't create that one either. That was created by a woman in Oklahoma City, Sarah Cunningham. Sarah was a devout, I think, evangelical Christian, but went to church, had very solid views about what she perceived as right and wrong. And her son, Parker, came out to her as a gay man. And she had a dark, how would you call it? A dark night of the soul, where she said, "How do I decide between God and my son?" And what came to her, she didn't have to make that decision. So he invited her to go to a pride march in Oklahoma City, and she made a button that said "Free mom hugs," because a lot of times when people come out to their family members, they don't get hugs. They get rejection. They get disowning. So she said by the end of the day, she was covered in tears and glitter. And she realized she had a movement on her hands too. So she started doing them any and everywhere she could. She left her non-affirming church, became a minister herself, and officiates at same-sex weddings. And she's even a stand-in mom for same-sex weddings. She says, "If your mom won't be there, I will, and I'll bring the bubbles." So Sarah has gotten really well known to the point that Jamie Lee Curtis got a hold of her story, and they're creating a movie about Sarah's life. And I decided, I've never met her. I've interviewed her. I've written about her, and I'm part of the Free Mom Hugs contingent too.
Wow, what a cool story. That's just, I think it's so neat whenever you see a need and then you find a way to meet it, That's so cool.
I like that. Yeah, because that's a real, I never thought of it that way, but that's a really good point, that we can all see a need and
find a way to
we're
fulfill it.
all right. We can all be solution finders. We can all be joy scatterers, love sharers, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody can
And it
be
can be the smallest thing. The smallest thing can make a huge difference. So I love that. What about nonprofits? Do you have any nonprofits that you're excited about?
Right. Well, the one that I had shared with you, Twilight Wish Foundation, and twilightwish.org, was founded 20 some years ago by my friend Cass Forkin. Cass is a force of nature, a dynamo. I don't know how else to describe her. She and her daughter were at and that Cass is not in that picture. She and her daughter were at the Dublin Diner around the corner from me having breakfast, and they saw these old, there's Cass in the yellow shirt. And I don't know if that's somebody as part of her team or somebody that got a wish granted. But she and her daughter were having breakfast, and they saw these older women counting out their coins to be able to afford breakfast. So she and her daughter went up to the counter, to cash register, and said, "We're paying for their breakfast. Don't tell them." So of course the women wanted to know who paid for our breakfast, and Cass got outed. So she thought that one of the women said something about, "Thank you for remembering us. Older people feel forgotten." So she decided to create this nonprofit to help grant wishes for seniors. And I think the requirements are you have to be over 65 and at a certain income level. So some of the wishes have been, one of the first ones, I think, was a woman who couldn't afford a tombstone for her son who died. And some people had wishes to travel certain places. Or a friend of ours, May, and I can't think of her last name, went right out my brain, but she was one of the original Rosie the Riveters during World War II. And May wanted to go to, I don't know, it was a reunion or an award ceremony for the Rosies. So she helped her with that. That's on the website too, the Rosie the Riveter wish. I don't know whether this person wanted to go to clown school or go to the circus. I'm not sure. Another one that I was aware of was a woman from Florida who always wanted to drive an 18-wheeler. No idea why, but she wanted to do that. So a friend of ours was a truck driver for 30, I don't know how many years. She was a truck driver for 30 years. And she said, "Well, you can't drive the truck, but I will drive you cross country from Pennsylvania to California." So Annabella Wood is our friend's name. So the woman came to Pennsylvania, and Annabella, this woman, and her little dog, Annabella's little dog, Quark, drove cross country. And I think AARP followed them and took videos, and they stopped at nursing homes and assisted living senior centers along the way. And one of the other wishes that this woman had was to be a showgirl in Las Vegas. She didn't get that wish because of insurance laws. And if she got hurt, insurance liability would be a problem. And she didn't have the training for it. But I think they might have gone to a Las Vegas show. And then once they got to California, I think I don't know if she flew back or drove back. I think maybe Annabella drove her back to Florida. But that was, I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago or so. One that I was involved with was a gentleman named Stevie who lived in an assisted living, I think in Indiana, and he loved the rock group Kiss. He was a big fan. So I thought, who do I know that knows Gene Simmons, the lead singer? And I have a DJ friend named Perry Angelosi, who's got a big heart also. I said, "Perry, can you do something for this guy?" So, and it was the first time I met Perry. I knew of him through Facebook. And he said, "Sure, I'll get an autographed picture." So we got the autographed picture. And then another friend of mine named Tom Zeman, who's out in Oregon, is a pumpkin and watermelon carving artist, like incredibly skilled. And what he does with the pumpkins, and he doesn't do it anymore. It got to be too hard on his wrists. But he would donate them to different charities. And one of them was Portsmouth, Virginia. No, that's not the one. Okay. So anyway, one of them was images of the members of KISS. So Tom sent me, prints of those. So I don't know if I sent them to Indiana or Cass did, but Stevie was delighted. And he had a KISS t-shirt on and a hat. And I think it was for his 70-something birthday. Now, I don't know how he's doing now, but it felt so good. And that was a little thing. It didn't cost anybody anything.
Yeah.
They were all, the pictures were all donated.
Yeah, just a little thing and how you put it together. It's like, what can I do? Who do I know? Who can help me? And I think that's really important for people to start to think like that. Like maybe you don't know Gene Simmons, but maybe you know somebody else who does. Maybe, whatever it is you need, there's always a way. So you can just reach out to resources and see how other people can get involved to help you create something for somebody else. I love that example.
Absolutely.
Well, why don't you tell the audience where they can find out more about you, where they can learn more about the Hug Mobsters?
Okay. Well, my website is optimistical.com, OPTI- I'll tell you where that came from, mystical.com. I listen to messages in my dreams and meditation. Sometimes they just, pop in. And the message was, you're not just an optimist, you're an optimistic who sees the world through the eyes of possibility. And I love that idea so much that I posted it on Facebook, and somebody that I know created a meme for me with that in there. Fast forward a few years, and it was my birthday, and somebody said, quick check on Julian Lennon's page, John Lennon's son. He posted your optimistical meme. I said, nah. Yeah, go look. Well, it was there. So since then, other people have taken the text and created all kinds of memes with different designs with those words. So I invite everybody to be an optimistic, to see the world through the eyes of possibility. So on my website, you're going to see some articles I've written because I write for a number of different venues. You'll see more Hug Mobster pictures. You'll see interviews with people that have interviewed me, both online and in print, about Hug Mobsters. And what I invite you to do, what I encourage you to do, is to become a Hug Mobster yourself. Anywhere you go, anywhere you live, offer your open arms and your hugs to people. And if anybody's interested in learning more about how to do it, they can email me. Oh, there we are. Yep. So they can email me about it, and I can give them some ideas. This woman here, this is the one right above there. That is my dear friend, Dr. Yvonne Kay. Yvonne is my mama figure after my mom died. She is 91 years old. She is a survivor of, she was not the kinder transport, but a child evacuee during World War II. She lived in London, where she was born, and her claim to fame about her town is that it's the same town where same neighborhood where David Bowie lived, Brixton. So Yvonne was a radio talk show host herself. She's an author. She's a journalist. She is still at 91, seeing clients, volunteering in the community. So she would be a phenomenal. I got lots of people for you. I'm a connector.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Please do make the connection. Definitely. And so we've really had a great time having you on today. She's already told you exactly where to find her and find out more, and go on her website and learn how you can spread a little kindness in maybe your neighborhood or wherever you might go. If you were passionate about the nonprofit that she shared, please go to their website, find out more. And if you're passionate about it, go ahead, make a donation. $1 or $5 multiplied by the many people who are watching make a big impact.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you for being on today. I really appreciate it, and we'll see everyone out there next week.
Okay, hugs. Ready? Virtual hug. 1, 2, 3.
If you enjoyed this episode of Little Give, head on over to our website, At littlegive.com, you'll be able to find all the information about previous episodes and past guests that we've had on. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on Little Give, all the information is also on the website. And if you have a nonprofit that you love and would like to recommend be on the show, all of that information is also on the website. We really appreciate you watching today, and we can't wait to see you again next week.